Hi there, are you somebody who has neck pain? Well, if so, you're going to want to make sure that you're not making one of these three mistakes. Hi there, my name is Morgan Brysden and I'm the creator of Center Studio, where I teach people just like you skills to feel more comfortable more often. And if you're new to my channel, friend, welcome. I'm really glad to have you here. And I hope if you enjoyed today's video, you'll be sure and hit the subscribe button. Also, there's a notification bell and that lets you know anytime I make a video that's similar to this one. Now, in today's video, I wanted to address anybody who has neck pain. And I'm going to ask you, if you're somebody who deals with this, do you do any of these three things? These are what I consider to be big mistakes that we don't really put a lot of weight on, especially if we're somebody who's been doing it our whole lives. But when you start to recognize, like, oh yeah, I do that all the time. Sometimes when we stop doing these things, it can make a huge difference with regard to how our necks feel day in and day out. Now, the first thing is whether or not you use your head and your neck to actively listen. And you might see this as somebody who's listening in conversation and shaking their head like this or like this, some sort of repetitive movement where they're just agreeing, and I always exaggerate how far the head is coming forward of the neck because I want to be very clear, but even if you're somebody who does this, it might not be so overt, right? Your head might not be coming so far forward, but if you're somebody who repetitively shakes your head, I'm going to suggest that you practice not doing that, that you simply say, I can listen and stay engaged with the individual who I'm speaking with, and I don't have to repetitively use my head and my neck in agreement or to show that I'm engaged or to show that I'm actively listening. I can find other ways, right? So that might be by using your facial expressions, by showing that you're making eye contact and you're engaged in that way. You might even also choose to shake your head only once from up top at the top of the spine. So again, oftentimes when it's a habit, when it's something we do all the time, we have a tendency to do it way down here. So if we do want to shake our head and go, oh yeah, that's really interesting, I might decide to move my head, but way up here in between the ears behind the bridge of the nose, okay? Now the second mistake that I oftentimes will ask students, do you do this? Is they'll look for an answer, an idea, or a memory somewhere up above in the clouds. And usually, again, I'm exaggerating how far forward the head comes as they think about it. Sometimes there's some scrunching back as they do it. And it's just this repetitive nature where they're using their head and their neck in a way that's not necessary, that doesn't oftentimes lead to them coming up with the answer. It's just a way that they use their bodies in their thought process. And if they're repetitively doing it in a way that's compressing their neck, that could be irritating any problems that they might be having. So as an alternative, I'll suggest to students, try using only your eyeballs. So just moving your eyes to where you want to get the thought. Do I want tacos tonight? Always. What do I think about so-and-so? Oh, they're amazing. So that you find the idea with only your eyes instead of, right? I'll oftentimes tease students that I feel like they're kind of looking like this and then grabbing the thought with a hand, like it's as though it's in the clouds. And we don't have to do that, but we can still have our gaze go in that direction, but only with using the eyes and not unnecessarily scrunching or tightening those neck muscles. The third thing I'm going to ask you to observe whether or not you do this is when you place your head on top of your hand as though it's a shelf. And that looks a little bit like this. Now, this is something you see, I don't know if you see this a lot. This is something I see, and I see it a lot online. I see it when people are engaged in a Zoom conversation or a conference call, and they'll oftentimes place their hand right underneath their jaw or their chin as they're having conversation. And anytime I see this, I really think to myself, this person's probably tired. And not like sleepy tired, but their body is tired. Their body would probably benefit from taking a moment to be on the floor in a horizontal constructive rest position. You might know that as semi-supine. And it's just an opportunity to take some weight off. You're not in upright standing, you're not seated, you're just returning to this sort of natural rest position. And for many of us, I'm sure that you've had a day where you wake up in the morning and the first time you lie down isn't until the evening. It's after dinner, after you've cleaned up, after you've put things away, and it feels so sweet. And I'm going to suggest, like I do to all my students, that you find a way to squeeze that horizontal rest position in the middle of your day. Maybe right before lunch, right after lunch, in the middle of the afternoon before you pick up the kids. Put it into your day so that you have an opportunity where your body's at rest. Because when we put all this downward pressure onto our hand, it's just unnecessarily scrunching up those neck muscles because people have to bring their head forward to meet their hand. Very rarely do you see people just bring their hand to their head, which is so nicely aligned on the top of the spine. You don't see people do that. You usually see people going here and then it's like the head's like, yeah, I'll meet the hand. I'll come towards my fist. And that kind of repetitious pulling the head forward, what Alexander technique teachers call head back and down, that repetitive motion can oftentimes lead to a lot of tension and tightness in the neck. Now, I hope you enjoyed today's video, friend. And of course, if you did, it would mean a lot to me if you'd hit that like button, subscribe, and of course, you can also comment below. Share with me what mistakes you've found yourself making. Are any of these familiar to you? If so, I'd love to hear from you. All right, until next time, take care. Ciao.